Good morning. Welcome everybody. I think I have a frozen camera here. Let's just hold on. There we go. Clicks in there. Good morning. Welcome back. Long weekend. Let me know if you can hear me okay, see me okay. It's always technical difficulties first thing back in the morning. We'll see how it does go. Let's see here. I'm not seeing a live, so do let me know in the comments if you're seeing me or not. That's bizarre. Should be seeing me, maybe. We'll see. Everybody, hopefully you're seeing me and I'm not just talking into a black screen. Thanks for tuning in. It's Wednesday today already, so hopefully everybody is well. Had a good long weekend, carrying forward with that. Missed out yesterday, obviously. My screen is blacked out. MC, let's fix this. Let's try and fix this. Let's do it the old way. There we go. I'm back. I think that works. Let's move my camera around here. Let's turn off this one. There we go. Here's me great. No, there was no cover on the camera. It was let's get this adjusted. There we go. It was my camera connected up. It was working. Everything was working fine when I got when I got set up, but then I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, I think everything hopefully is working now. Do let me know if you can see me. I can see me, so that's always a good sign. And let me know if you can hear me okay. It was not the camera. It was not the cover, Vic, but all good. Let's get back on track. Welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We're finally live, finally working. Going. Hopefully everybody had a good long weekend. Missed out the stream yesterday. It's always busy getting back to work on a Tuesday after a long weekend, so had some catching up to do, catch up on my emails and work and all that kind of stuff, and back in action now. Carried on. So if you're watching, I'll throw it off here. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for tuning in, and if you haven't already, hit the like on the stream. It'd be great. It helps the channel out, gets it out there to everybody, and let's go. Coffee Cruise here. Let's get back on track. Throws you off first thing. Let me tell you, holy. Need more coffee. Stan, good morning. Welcome. Good to have you here. First one in. Beat Candace. I haven't seen Candace for a bit. And good morning, MC. Good to have you. And now we got screen. Works. Good call. Yeah, it wasn't the lens. Funny enough, Vic, it wasn't the lens cap. It was the connection for some reason. But there we go. It's all funny. Is it plugged in? Yeah. Too funny. Technical difficulties. It's funny how everything works when you first turn everything on, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't work. I don't know what that is. Old school. There we go. And there we go, Vic. Yeah. So I was actually just going to mention it was with the market closed in Canada. It didn't do my Monday purchase. So people know I put $100 every week into my TFSA. Didn't do it Monday, did it for Tuesday with the market open, and bought the usual. So the channel members would have saw those purchases back on the community tab. XEQT was the main one, and so happy about that, and just carried on. And then actually today, and Vic, this kind of comes with this, I just bought 200 shares of Bank of Montreal. All the big banks are dropping. Yeah, earnings apparently not so great. They only made a couple billion. They always seem to make some money, and dropped today. So you bought. I think a lot of people will be, Vic. I'll check out Blossom later on. I'm sure a lot of the people that are snapping up, that like to snap up, Bank of Nova Scotia, Bank of Montreal, will be picking up the banks that they like. I don't hold any, as you know, any separate bank stocks, just with what's in VDY, and haven't purchased anything on that for a while, mostly focusing on XEQT, covered that way, and yeah, so maybe some opportunity there. I did though today. I did buy a little bit extra. There's a position I've been wanting to build up a little bit is BN Brookfield, and I did an extra deposit today this morning. So members would have already saw that happen. Uh, Picked up 4 shares of BN, and then I had some left over, and picked up I think it was 10, yeah, 10, just 10 shares of Diversified Royalty Corp. That one's down today as well. I want to build that one up, Diversified Royalty Corp, to about 5%, roughly 5% of my portfolio. And if I can see it under $3, I try and snap some up if I'm able to when the time comes. So and that was a big, yeah. So yeah, how many did you get of BMO? 3. How many did you say there? 200. Yeah, that's a big buy. You're all in on BMO. That's more than my whole portfolio, Vic. They try to buy about 10:45 Eastern. They don't say time. Yeah, time to market, but that's from when it drops. It's always hard to time the market. You never know what the heck's going to happen. And there's a lot happening out there, right? With the whole debt ceiling thing in the States that hopefully will get solved before what is the first. So hopefully maybe by this weekend. But we'll see what happens with that one. Why BN and not BAM? I think for the growth there, more on that one, Vic. And I do purchase BAM monthly as well, as part of that StreamYard challenge. So sticking with that was part of it. That was part of the reasoning. And I think there'll be some growth there in the future. Hopefully, we'll see. And yeah, thanks, Alan. Up and running, back to normal. Although the cameras, I'm thrown off because I keep just trying to look at the other camera, but it's actually the one right in front of me. Throws me off. Used to the. Well, hopefully be back there tomorrow. We'll figure it out. Vic doesn't pay rent. I pay rent, unfortunately. Yeah, so I can't gamble. I can't gamble that. You gamble your down payment. You shouldn't gamble when you shouldn't gamble. You shouldn't gamble necessarily. Not all of it. But yeah, it's a good. Vic is Vic Buffett. It's true. Well, something to be said about living in parents' basement. I was with my mom for a bit too, Vic, and it's actually kind of nice. I didn't have to pay. I paid a bit of board, like with groceries and stuff like that. That was kind of the deal. I bought all the I bought a majority of groceries and stuff like that. But able to live rent free for, well, it wasn't quite a year, but it was nice. That's for sure. It lets you kind of sock away a bit extra money. That is for sure. You don't realize how much things cost when you start adding them up. Now that you're when you're out on your own, you have all those other bills, right? Insurance and home insurance and hydro, and if you have gas bill, it's not gas here, hydro, water bill, whatever, that kind of stuff, all seems to add up over and above your rent. So it's nice to stay at home, although I couldn't do it forever. We'd be ready to kill each other. But that's just the way it works out. Yeah, there we go. So other than that, yeah, so there's an opportunity. I guess let me know if anybody else bought anything today. It's maybe some opportunity. It's always when people, what is it? What's the saying? Buy when it looks ugly and fearful. Might be a time to buy some things. Hard to say. Not financial advice, obviously. I'm just sticking with my plans basically. But if I can see a bit of opportunity, I'll try and take it. And just another, like I said, another just small little deposit. Yeah. You gamble with the blue chips, hold till I get dividends or profit out. Do it in your RSP, TFSA, no. Yeah, no, you don't want to day trade much in your TFSA. It's okay to rejig things in your TFSA though. That's what people, I think, don't be afraid of, right? Taking some profit. You just don't want to be trading that actively, really day trading something like that in your TFSA. But if you're up on something and you want to take some profits, I would say do it, and then if you're down on something, I'll reallocate somewhere else. I mean, that's okay to do. It's just not, you can't just be excessive about it. But if you are going to be doing some more active trading, definitely keep that out of your TFSA. That's for sure. Mortgage, yeah, painful belief you're building. You are, yeah. makes it somewhat less painful. Yeah, it does, and you can't get kicked out. Well, you can get kicked out if you don't pay your mortgage, but I hear you with the rent thing. That's the unfortunate thing with rent. If you're renting from a small landlord that decides to sell their property or something like that, you can certainly get the boot. And it makes it tough. If I've rented a few times, obviously, but I've always decided to rent from rental buildings, and that kind of nips that and not have to worry about that, because obviously they're purpose-built rentals, so typically always going to be rented. As long as you keep paying your rent, you're okay. And you want to keep paying your mortgage, obviously, MC, because you can get kicked out there too. And building equity depends, right? I know there's well, obviously with values, sure, but if also too, don't forget, like a lot of people that have variable rate mortgages right now are almost just paying. If you have one of those fixed static payment variables, you're just paying essentially interest. Sometimes even not enough interest to cover what the actual interest is, and your balance would actually be accruing a little bit every month. I've seen that actually happen, but yeah, interesting times out there, that is for sure. And Vic bought Royal Bank a day ago. Not two. You're rolling in there. All that down payment's gone, Vic, into the banks. Yeah, I didn't pay. I was I wasn't. I shouldn't say I was surprised at the earnings today, but I was. I don't follow the banks that closely, so I didn't even. They weren't on my radar for earnings coming up. So you're cold. Yeah. So you do. Okay. So you have some fun play money, which is okay. That's a good chunk of play money. That's more than I've got in all my everything, but it's okay to have a little bit of fun with a small percentage for sure. It kind of makes you learn, right? And have a little bit of fun. It's kind of that's what makes investing fun. If you can kind of take some risks, that kind of thing, but be safe. And obviously, like you said, your core is your index. So if your core is more stable, and then you got not as much to worry about. That's a big thing, right, Vic? Yeah, you don't pay if you're using Wealthsimple, or if you're using like National Bank, it's free, right? And I think that's maybe to the detriment of some people, because you're maybe moving stuff more than you should, or doing things that because it's free, you don't maybe hold things for as long as you maybe should, or you make some silly moves. It's tough. We talked about it before. When you're looking at you can look at everything like instantly on your phone. It makes you sometimes question things too much. So sometimes it's good just to not look, right? You look at your core, and I mean, I should try. It's hard when you do a channel as well. You're kind of looking at it a lot. I would say too much, but it's kind of fun to look as well. But I think it makes you have to really almost like slap your own wrist to stay away from stuff, because it does make it really easy. That can kind of go both ways. It's true. Sometimes when you leave things alone, it is actually better. I mean, I have my self-directed TFSA, and I have like my other investments in like the robo-advisor, Vic, and the robo-advisor stuff is doing great. It's doing fine because I don't touch it. I just do consistent deposits, and it does its thing, and I'm not playing around as much, so it seems to be doing, although I'm getting better, but it seems to be something to be said about just being consistent and letting it do its thing, as opposed to me messing with things. But that's all right. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same here in BC, MC, with rentals. If you rent, the new owner can basically kick you out if they're moving in, or immediate, like immediate family member is moving in. Yeah. So if someone's buying it as another rental, then the lease, like the tenancy agreement, would stay in place. Yeah, but it's still unfortunate, right? Because a lot of people, when they do buy, they're buying a place, a lot of times, if someone's selling a rental or something, like a lot of times people intend to live in it, and you see that happen as the tenant gets, evicted. There's a certain period. I think they have to give them. I forget. I'd have to look up what they like. I'm not a tenancy expert, but I think you have to give them a certain amount of time as well, or you have to pay. I think I think it really depends. I think if you're selling the place, it's different. But if you're planning to move, I think if you're planning to move back in yourself, you have to give them extra time. I think it's 2 months here. I could be wrong, and or in lieu of that, pay them that time. But in order to get them some time to actually find a place, which is hard, right? Of course, depending on how long they've been there, it's like. You might have a lower rent than what the market rent is, right? So you're going somewhere else and it's more expensive to live. It's pricey. It's crazy. Oh, those were the good old days. Yeah, my first rent, I think I was paying, the first time I ever rented was in Calgary, back in the 90s, and I think I was paying, it was like $400 or something like that, like 400 bucks, I think, for a one bedroom. It was crazy. And then in Vancouver, my first place renting was, I think, 650 or something like that for a one bed, nice decent sized one bedroom. Actually had like, yeah, those are the good old days. I should have, if I would have stayed there, it probably wouldn't be much over, I don't know, it wouldn't be much over $1,000 probably right now, but it was kind of a dumpy apartment. You always, when you're young, you always kind of live in dumps. You always seem to find these places that aren't the greatest. uh, yeah, that's a big call if you're buying stuff. Exactly, you don't know, right? Because why are the people selling, right? Maybe maybe there's problems. That's the thing. But there's some great tenants, right? On the flip side, there's some people have, I think if you're renting, you have a good tenant, hang on to them, because it can go sideways really quickly. Which is it's always hard to know. But if you're inheriting one, yeah, you just don't have that. You always kind of wonder, right? So yeah, that's a good call. I kind of remember that when I first started investing in like in mutual funds when I had my RSP when I was young and silly and not putting in much money into it. You'd get that money coming in, you go like, oh, that's weird. Why am I getting all this money from this account? And you're like, oh, it's a dividend mutual fund. You just figured out. You'd had no idea. You used to remember you'd have to look through. You'd have the books. There wasn't even, I'm gonna date myself, there was no like internet, really, and to find anything out, you'd get like literally a pamphlet or a brochure at the bank about what to invest in. It's um it's uh, it's pretty crazy how times have come, right? And now you can literally find anything online and research that way, and what you're getting. So interesting. Parking spot, just a parking spot, 125 to rent. Yeah, mine is, outside parking is $60 a month, which is silly, but it is what it is. You have to park your car somewhere, and there's like no street parking around. And then I remember when I lived in Calgary, it was what was it extra, 150 I think a month, but it was indoor, at least heated indoor, but or like underground parking, but adds up. This car is like more car cost, right? One bedroom to rent that's a lot. I pay way less than that for a two bedroom where I am. Definitely less expensive on the island of the West Coast. Crazy, yeah, crazy prices in the big cities, that's for sure. And hello, good to have you here, Nadia. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Wednesday. I guess it's technically hump day, even though it's a short week. So you've been lucky with them, yeah. And the majority, I think, of people are lucky. If pay on time, right? Pretty low maintenance. You charge 25 a month, but the going rate is 20. And that's the thing. Sometimes you keep it under, for them, or keep it that price, and they're going to be good tenants because they know they've got a good deal, and they'll probably stick around a bit more. And if they're paying on time and don't bug them, and don't necessarily raise the rent. And then you know what you're going to get, right? Because as soon as you get someone new in there, they could move in 6 months or break a lease, or who knows, that kind of thing. So if you have a good tenant, hang on to them. That's for sure. And REITs do the same. Yeah, REITs aren't doing that great right now. I was the one I have on mine, Vic. I was actually thinking of selling, and then I just kind of missed the ball on that one. But we'll see. Scared of tenants. Yeah. Season tickets. Oh, I don't follow sports, but that's crazy. Did you hear the price jump? That's it. Yeah, that's insane. It's funny. I looked. I don't follow really sports a lot, but I started watching a little bit of Formula One. I got addicted to that Netflix show. So I've been watching some of those stuff and some of the stuff on YouTube about it. And I have a friend who has a place in Italy, and I jokingly said we should go to the Formula One in Italy to watch a race, and then I looked at the prices, and it's like, maybe you don't need to see one that much. So expensive sports, everything's more expensive, right? Sports, concerts. It's just, yeah. I haven't been to a concert in years either. Yeah, it's true, MC. They don't. I mean, you get a decent. You would sometimes get an okay dividend, but then of course the dividend gets cut and you get hammered. Um, yeah, yeah. Most people's rentals are bought with, yeah, with levered with borrowed on a line of credit or something like that, or that kind of thing. You'd almost be better off putting it into some kind of investment outside of real estate. I don't know. People counting on equity and appreciation, which is always kind of hard, especially these days. Although prices are up a little bit, but who knows? I didn't know there was one, but I'll check that out. I haven't seen that. Yeah, yeah. I've been. I don't know, Vic. I've been addicted to that. I watched that whole series in like almost a couple weekends, and then I've been watching. There's clips on YouTube and stuff like that they'll play, and highlights and all that kind of stuff of the races. Yeah, you're probably right there. If that's the case, yeah, if you bought in 2008, good time. Obviously prices were expensive then too, but obviously we know what's happened since then. Um, Collecting rent paid on the mortgage, small. If you have a small cash flow, it's even better because a lot of places that are renting now don't. If you look at it, um, and I would say probably better than a REIT. Yeah, guaranteed on that one. But it's when you got in too, partly. If you looked at something, I mean, it's hard to say. I think if you're getting, don't do a lot of rental stuff anymore, just because it doesn't cash flow, right? Yeah, that kind of mentioned that earlier, Vic. I think we need that fixed because the market wants it fixed. I think hopefully something by Friday. I mean, they always seem to fix it. It's just that whole tug of war up until that point, and we'll have to see what pans out. No one wants to make, I guess, any concessions, and that's what has to get fixed. They're going to have to raise it. It's just when it'll go down. It seems to always go down to the wire, right? So this is maybe nothing new because it's happened before, but it's yeah, that would be nice. Have some clarity in what the heck is happening. So I think we'll see more, hopefully by the weekend. Being optimistic, right? And I think everybody is kind of waiting on that, just kind of waiting for them to kind of get off their hands and actually do it. Uh, yeah, they're still. That's right. I think I read something on that they were meeting again. So um, yeah, I think things will get solved, Vic. Eventually, it has to. If it doesn't, it's gonna be it's going. If it doesn't, it's not gonna be pretty. Um, Believe me. Yeah, exactly, MC. It happens. It happens. It's just, yeah. It gets kicked down the road, right? And that will happen again, and we'll be in the same predicament in a few years, waiting, right? And people will panic, and then hopefully, and then it gets fixed. So it kind of has to. If you're in real estate for the long haul and the cash flow works, you can manage the psychological aspect like any investment, right? It can be a very good investment vehicle. Yeah, it's not for everybody though. I mean, there's a couple people I follow on Twitter. I mean, some people love it, right? I've never wanted. a rental property. I don't want the hassle. I always feel it's like for a hassle, it's a hassle enough having your own house or condo or something to look after, let alone another one and having to worry about that, and also having to worry about tenants and everything else that comes with it. It's never been for me. I never had the desire. Some people have the desire to do it and want to do it. I know you can get property managers, that kind of stuff, but it's still I've never had a desire to do it. So there's some admiration for sure that people do it. And there's, people that have maybe a portfolio of properties that will manage them or have them managed. Kudos to them. Not for me, that's for sure. Yeah, I guess, Vic, yeah, if you can, yeah, it doesn't, it just depends, right? For individual, sometimes it does make a bit more sense. I think a lot of people, it just really depends on the investor that's doing it. But I think a lot of people, Vic, like have bought rentals with the hope of the appreciation, right? You would with any investment, but I couldn't handle the stress in between time. That's for sure. And it really depends on, it does really depend on the market, right? Vancouver, Toronto, good markets. Other ones can be hit or miss from time to time, or different areas can be hit and miss. So it doesn't always work out. But I think if you have a rental in a big city, you're pretty good. Yeah. And yours is just outside the GTA. So yeah, there we go. I know there's different areas. Like I was reading Calgary rentals are up like 40, I think it's 43% year over year. And yeah, it's crazy, but that's a kind of a boom and bust. I remember when I moved there, they were giving away rentals. Literally, you'd get free months and that kind of stuff to sign a lease again, and yeah, because they didn't want to get a new renter. So that times has changed. Yeah, that will be interesting, right? Because everybody, Vic, that's renewing into their mortgage, and this could be for rentals or people that are living in their house, right? Is it's going to be higher rate, and there's quite a lot are going to be renewing starting in 2024, 2025, going into 2026 will come fast. It's definitely going to be a pinch for some people, that's for sure. Rates, almost double. Depending, because I know there's people that are sitting on old fixed rates that were under 2%, 1.99%, stuff like that. They're going to be renewing quite a bit higher, which is, it's going to be interesting to say the least, and what the heck happens. That's why we're not seeing a lot of stuff on the market. That's why the prices have kind of gone up, because nobody wants to sell because they don't want to lose those rates. So they're just kind of hanging on with where they're at, for the most part. And yeah, that's the thing. Like there's people under 2%. So they're not going to be. So they've got, if they did 5 years in 2021, they've got till 2026 ish sometime. That's going to be a big jump. That's for sure. Yeah. And the GTA. Yeah, I'm not totally sure on the GTA area. So if you'll live there, you'll know what it is. But and they have different landlord tenant rules in different places. So, but if your building is not rent controlled, you can pass on expenses to tenant. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know all the tenancy rules in Ontario, that's for sure, or really BC for that matter. Yeah, I think that will be interesting time. I don't know, Vic. It's hard to know. People have been predicting a crash in Canadian real estate for as long as there's been Canadian real estate, but there's no inventory right now. But there's also lots of immigration still coming in, so it's who knows? But maybe there will be. It comes to a point where people can only afford so much stuff, where things will have to get adjusted, right? I don't know. I don't know the right answer for that one. That's for sure. And yeah, condo fees are pricey too. I remember that's part of the reason I decided to sell when I sold. The condo fees kept going up. They always go up and up. They never they never come down. Like that's the thing. They were getting expensive. And then I knew there was kind of on the radar was going to be, because it started to get older. The condo was 15. When I moved, it was 15, roughly 15 years old. So starting to get to that point where it started to need more more work and maintenance. Some of the fences started to, it was wood, and so there was also painting that had to get done. And actually, because it was kind of near where my mom lives, I noticed when I was there last time they had painted the whole place, so that would have been a hefty bill as well for the condo. For the condo fees, not cheap to paint a whole complex of townhouses, but. MC, there was a CMHC liabilities against real estate is worth more than the assets themselves. I think it was this. Was it the CMHC that put out one? I'd have to dig it up. I saw something where it was is the debt to GDP? Was that the chart that they put out? I'd have to dig that one up. But I'd have to. I think that was it. It was on Twitter. I'll maybe dig that one up for tomorrow, MC. Vic, I think they were trying to start here, but I don't think they did. They were. That was a few years ago. It's tough to be a mortgage lender in Canada for these smaller-ish lenders. A lot of times they need to have, a lot of them go through CMHC, so it's only insured type products, and they just never seem to make it to the long haul. So big banks kind of have a good chunk of that market covered. So it's a tough industry, that's for sure. You see lots of smaller lenders kind of come and go. Do they have a 1% down product for USA? I haven't seen that. I don't follow the United States kind of mortgage stuff. It's completely kind of different, so I don't follow it, Vic. But interesting. They used to have them here. They used to have 0 down. I mean, we have 5% down here, but by the time you add your premium for CMHC, you're kind of at essentially almost 1%. By the time you look at that premium that gets added to your mortgage, so pretty close. But I guess it's a little bit different with 1% down. Yeah, that's what seems to happen with condos. Obviously, when you first get into one that's newer, the condo fees are low, but the developers do that on purpose because they do the budgets and everything else, because it's a brand new building, so there's not as much maintenance either for stuff. But you're guaranteed each year it goes up, right? And it's around like 10, 15, and then 20 years. Like there's always those major kind of more maintenance kind of stuff that kind of starts to happen after 10 years, and stuff seems to get more expensive. In terms of your condo strata fees, it's also with the whatever, like different kinds of amenities and stuff are as well. Those seem to be money pits for things. So if you have there's a pool in the complex or like a clubhouse, the clubhouse we had where we were it had a clubhouse with a gym and a meeting room and all that kind of stuff, and that was like a money pit. There was this money going in there like you would not believe, and it was like we would have been, the strata would have been better off just bulldozing that thing or like subdividing it and selling it as a lot or something. I don't know. It was a money pit, that was for sure. But and they started to increase. You got the wood rot, and then you have this painting. Then the yards start to go, grass and gardening needs to get done, trees die, that kind of stuff. So, oh, you own some Rocket, okay, and United Wholesale Mortgage Corp. Yeah, I don't own any mortgage stocks. I guess other than banks, right? If you have banks in something, an ETF or something like that. Hey Drixie, good to have you here. No worries. We started off a bit rocky, but we're back now. You can watch BOTC and Rail and BMO. You're not the only one. Vic bought some BMO as well. Big chunk of BMO. Yeah, I think there'd be a few people that have kind of trying to snap up maybe some deals. We'll have to see. First 5 years expect condo. Yeah, that's kind of about right. Trying to think, because when I moved in, it was only about 4 or 5 years old, so fairly new, and then was there for over 10 years. But they were, yeah, they for sure they would have doubled or close to doubled by the time. And there's always extra bill, like there's always extra bills for something that come up, like assessments and that kind of stuff. Because there was, I mean, we had one where I was on the strata, so we had the strata, and there was one of the water main broke, but there wasn't a flood. It was where it was connected from the. It was where it was connected. And it broke, and it was right near a drain, I guess underground. So the water was just literally flowing into the drain, and we didn't the strata. We didn't know that it was broken until there was a bill from the city, and the bill from the city was something like for like a month. Like it was just ridiculous. I think the bill was something like $30,000 or something for a month, or however the period of billing was at the time. And it's just like you get this bill, and the city took some of it off. I mean, the city would work with you to, adjust some of it off, because they should have kind of caught that there was an anomaly, so much water getting used. There's obviously something wrong, but that was the bill, and then you have to pay to get the excavator to, to fix these mains and stuff like that. So, and then go in and inspect the other ones, because you want to make sure that the other ones aren't fixed. So it's just like up, 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 up. It never fails with costs. Yeah. And yeah, it's the same thing, like concierge. Yeah, all these little extra perks, right? They sound great on paper, and then you start to have to pay for them. Pool, concierge, that kind of stuff. Gym stuff gets damaged. You think, oh great, I'll have a gym in the place. I won't pay for a gym membership. But then all of a sudden, some of the gym equipment's broken, and and you're paying for it. Obviously as an owner, you're paying for this stuff. And yeah, that's has like 12 staff members. So imagine the cost. Yeah, you can save all that kind of stuff. That's crazy. Yeah, my brother had a place. He's no longer there. He sold it as well, but he had a pool, and they had a property manager, that kind of stuff. I mean, he used the pool a lot, but still, it's like you're better off. It's probably cheaper in the long run to have a gym membership somewhere with a pool, that kind of thing. So. And Vic bought a lot of BMO today. Vic likes BMO. Banks are too dry for you. Not enough fuel to go to the moon. Yeah, we'll have to see, right? But you're probably, I think, for the next little bit. BC. Yeah, I could see that. I've seen a few properties, like I've had that in the state, sorry, not the states, in Toronto, that I've looked at. And I've also looked at like other provinces, like for moving stuff potentially. And it seems like tenant condominium fees are higher in some of the other provinces. And yeah. That's the hard part, though. The hard part, if you want to try and save up the reserves, right? Contingency reserves, to charge more, but then nobody wants to pay more, right? It's like it's this fine, it's this fine balance between it, right? Because people don't want to pay more, because they necessarily see any value in it, and if they're possibly thinking that they're going to be selling soon or something like that, they don't want to put extra if they don't have to. But yeah, it goes both ways, because a lot of times when you do these special assessments, some of it's going to come out of the contingency fund, but they're still going to get some extra. It's never enough, right? Because the costs for these big projects are pricey. Yeah, haven't had that for a while, Vic. Actually, YouTube's been pretty good, with stuff with comments. I haven't had any major ones. That's for sure. I guess that's how you know you've made it. I guess I don't know. Who knows? Um, I don't even know how they find you and come in, but it's all good. Yeah, no. So there haven't been any WhatsApp ones. I can usually every once in a while they'll hit the video, like a new video, Vic, and you can kind of see right away that comments come in. So I'll delete them or hide them. Really. Yeah, I saw that link yesterday. I didn't have a chance to. I didn't have a chance to check it out yet, though. MC. I'm gonna guess because the stock is not doing that great. They must not have liked it. But I think they hinted on. I read somewhere else that he hinted on possibly building another gigafactory somewhere. I think the speculation is possibly India. Could be wrong, but that was one little nugget I got out of it. I'll have to watch it. I still haven't watched that full interview as well. I've got it saved in my bookmarks for his full interview he did. It was a couple weeks ago now. So it's the one you mentioned. So I'll have to check that out. There's never enough time in the day to read all the news, listen to all the interviews, podcasts, and all this kind of stuff. They just build up in my watch later list, and I have to eventually get to them. There we go. All right. Well, always fun, everybody. Coming up to 1:45, so I do have to get to work today. Definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. Vic, good to have you back. MC, as always, and all the regulars that were able to tune in. Technical difficulties aside, do really appreciate it. I'm gonna catch that. So it was one on David. Okay, that's the one I have to watch too. Is David Faber. India might be somewhere to watch actually. I have to look at some ETFs for India. Maybe something like that. That's somewhere to watch. Who knows? Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you haven't hit the like button on your way out. We're gonna take off. We'll have the next stream scheduled for tomorrow, and we'll be back. Hopefully the market gets a bit of green. Hopefully this debt ceiling gets solved. MC, I saw your last comment. We'll catch that. Yeah, that's a book I want to read. I saw that as well. That would be a good book. His biography on Steve Jobs was really good as well. So I will we'll probably check that out, download that one, or pick it up in the store. I like to read an actual book when it comes out. I think that would be interesting. That author is good for reading those kind of biographies. That's it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We're gonna go and have a good day. Have a good rest of your day. We'll catch you all in the next one.